What about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
I heard.
teacher. Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay, I
fine.
think my microphone got disconnected somehow.
No worries.
So, okay. So let me just say hello to some new faces. So Peter, nice to have you back. You said you're from Slovakia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And Rafael, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil. Nice to have you, Rafael. And Martin, you're a new face as well. Where are you from, Martin?
I'm from Italy. Hi, teacher. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Jason, welcome back. Nice to see you. Can you hear me, Jason?
Yes.
You're a little quiet. How's everything, Jason?
Yeah, everything is good.
Are you on holidays now?
No, I try to create a new activity.
But are you working these days, or are you off for? Do you have a holiday?
Yes, I work. Yes, I work. I'm working.
Working is no good. It's better to be on holiday. I'm working too. And nice to have you back, Yuki. Are you on holiday? Do you have a holiday coming up, or are you working?
Not a holiday, but my work is very flexible, so
That's good.
It's difficult. What day is holiday? What is working day?
Yes.
Like you.
I don't.
Like
me. I don't think I've ever had a holiday. I had a holiday once, and I came to Europe, and that was 14 years ago, and I never left. So I'm still on holiday. Okay, I think the audio wasn't working very well, so let me just reiterate what I was saying here. We've been talking about vocabulary for managing projects, and we learned some key expressions for asking for and giving updates. What we're going to do today is work on revising some of the grammar that you need when you're updating someone on a project. So this is all about time management and project management. Those tenses will be the present perfect and the past simple, the two tenses you need to talk about actions that are either completed or were begun in the past but have not yet been completed. So if I say have done, it's not completed yet. If I say did, it's completed. Well, we're going to be using those right now. We're going to be revising the use of those tenses right now to talk about projects. So here, it asks us to read extracts from the audio in 9. I have included all the audio and transcriptions at the end of this document, okay? But what I think we ought to do is to just read through it together as a class. So I'm going to go to slide 16 of the presentation. I don't know if I've given you the presentation in the... no, I didn't give it to you. I can give you the link after class, but for today, we're just going to use what you see on screen, okay? So we've got Sarah, Ian, and Michelle having a meeting where they're updating each other on a project. Now, we've actually listened to this in a former class, but just to have you refresh your memory, let's read through it one time, and then we'll look at the verb tenses, okay? So let's have the first three in this first 2 pages, and then we'll switch to the next 3. So Jason, you're going to be reading Sarah, okay? Who's after you? I can't see. It's Martin. You're going to be reading... Well, Ian doesn't really have much of a part here, actually. So Martin, you're going to be reading Michelle, I think. Well, actually, Ian does have a part. Okay, fine. You'll read Michelle, and Peter, you're going to be reading Ian. Okay, and then we're going to give you Yuki and Raphael a chance in the next slide, okay? So let's read through it once. Are we ready, Jason?
Yes. Okay. I sent you a proposed agenda yesterday. Have you had a chance to look at it?
Yes, it looks fine.
So The purpose of today is to update each other on progress and consider anything that might affect our schedule.
Okay.
So, Michel, why don't you start? How are things with the marketing department?
Up to now, the launch date has been set for the 15th of November to capture the Christmas trade. This means
To capture.
To capture.
We hear a ch. Yeah, capture.
The Christmas trade. This means we must meet our deadlines.
Deadlines. Good.
Good point. How the advertising campaign coming along?
That's fine. We have set a realistic schedule and planned in a bit of extra time in case the printing takes longer than expected.
Great. How far are you with preparation for the launch party?
Our event manager says we are on track. He booked the venue 2 weeks ago, and I've already received offers from various catering companies. I haven't made a final choice yet, but most of them are well within our budget.
Just repeat one word for me. I've already received, Martin. Received.
I've already received.
Good, that's it. Okay, Jason?
That sounds good, Michel. Thanks. So, how does your side of things look? Now.
Well, actually, things aren't running as smoothly as I'd hoped. We've hit a problem with the handset battery life.
Okay, so what do you mean exactly?
Okay, let me just remind you. This project was about launching a mobile phone. So when they're talking about the handset battery life, that's kind of an old way to say the handset is the mobile phone itself. So they're talking about the battery life of the mobile phone. But in the old days, we said handset because you can have a headset, you can have a handset, you can have different ways to use a microphone, let's say. I've got a headset on right now. Just to be clear what we're talking about, okay? In the next slide, we're going to continue, but Raphael, you're going to read for Sarah, and Yuki, you're going to read Michelle, okay? And we'll have, who was reading Ian? And we'll have Peter continue to read Ian, okay? So I'm going to change the slide.
Okay.
Go ahead, Peter.
Well, in some cases, the battery can run out in 6 hours if its key features are in permanent use.
So what you are saying is we are about to launch a new revolutionary low-cost mobile phone and its battery only lasts 6 hours?
Well, obviously, that's an extreme case, but the engineers have identified that there is a basic design problem with the battery.
So the real problem lies...
Isn't that Raphael? Isn't that Raphael?
I'm sorry.
Okay. So the real problem lies with the battery manufacturers.
Yes.
But Ian, what about our deadlines? Can this problem be resolved?
Well, our engineers are looking into it, and if it's fixable, they'll do it, but they'll need time. We may have to reschedule.
But we can't postpone the launch at this stage. There must be something you can do.
Are there any alternatives?
Well, I've got some suggestions, but you may not like them.
Jan, you've put in a difficult position. Why don't we get another coffee and then we look at our options?
Okay, very good reading, everyone. By the way, remember, in American English, the word is schedule. In British English, it's schedule. So you have to decide if you're using American or British English. All of you appear to be using British English. Okay, just to remind you that there's a different pronunciation in both languages. Okay? All right. So that's just a quick review. Raphael, what do you understand about this situation? If you had to summarize it, what is basically going on in this meeting in a word or two?
Okay, can I be sincere? Sometimes when I'm reading something, I'm so concerned about the pronunciation that I'm not understanding what I'm reading. Not that I don't know the words, but I noticed that there is a problem when it comes to schedule, because sometimes when something went wrong and they're
Right.
trying to postpone something, but if I need to explain everything, I can't, because I need to read without reading for me, not reading out loud, if you know what I mean.
Yep. Well, let's take a look at the bottom of this slide here, Raphael. So look at what Ian says. Well, actually, things aren't running as smoothly as I hope. We hit a problem with the handset battery life. So there's the key to the delay. They're about to launch a mobile phone. You didn't know that from reading. That's something I have to tell you. It's not in the text. But I'm telling you, that's the context, because last week we listened to this as an audio. So you weren't here, so you didn't know that. But they're launching a mobile phone. This meeting, as you said, is an update on the progress of that project. And the delay is that there's something wrong with the battery. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. What was I going to say? And one more question. Maybe let me ask Martin.
Yeah.
Do they have a solution for the problem? What's your impression of what they're going to do next? Do they have a solution already?
Oh, maybe bring one extra battery for the mobile phone.
Yeah. But from what you heard, but from what we read about the meeting, do they know what to do next? Do they have a solution, or are they not sure what to do?
Oh, I'm still not sure about it.
Well, not you, I mean them. They're not sure. They're not sure. And we can see that because they're asking questions like this. On the right side, Sarah says, are there any alternatives? So that's an example.
I should read the entire text before answer your question. Sorry.
You don't have to read it. It's not necessary. Whatever is not clear, I will clarify for you. Don't worry. Because you were not in the previous classes, so everyone else has had a chance to hear this once or twice. Okay? So don't worry about it. But let me just point out how we know they don't have a solution. Because Sarah says, are there any alternatives, right, about postponing the launch date? Michelle said earlier, can this problem be resolved? So they don't really know what to do. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now that we have a rough idea of what's going on, what we're going to do is go back to our exercises and focus just on the grammar for a moment. So let's go back here to this slide. We're on slide 8. By the way, I can give you a link to this later on. I don't have it right now because I'll see if I can. I'm afraid if I open anything else, we'll have problems with the Hangout. So I'm just going to leave it with us looking at the screen for today. Okay, and then I'll give you a link after class. Okay, so look at these extracts from the audio that we just read, from the meeting we just read about. And all I want you to do is just basically categorize them. You've got A through F, says read these, but then at the bottom, which word in extract D and which word in extract E mean something that has, wait, maybe we're missing something because I have 4 and 5. Hold on a second. Let me just double check. I think I'm missing something in my slide here. Oh, yeah, I was on the wrong page. My fault. Sorry. Which of the extracts refer to a present situation? Or number 2, a finished action? Or number 3, something that has or hasn't happened? So that's the first thing we need to figure out, okay? Let's read through these first. Jason, could you read number 1? Read A for us?
Up to now, the launch date has been set for the 15th of November.
Okay. So which of those definitions fit A best? Present situation resulting from past action, a finished action, or something that has or hasn't happened during an unfinished period of time. In other words, a simple way to look at this is that number 1 is a result. Number 2 is a completed action. And number 3 is a period of time. That's a simpler way to look at it. What would you say about A, Jason?
I would say the answer 1.
It's a present situation. Up till now, let's see. Up till now, the launch date has been set for the 15th. But wait a second. There's no result there, is there? There's no result happening in that sentence. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Because me, I don't. I can barely find the difference between the 1 and 3.
Okay. Okay. The difference is this. Number 1, basically 1 and 3 are the same, but there is a difference. The difference is that in number 1, we're focused on the present. And in number 3, we're focused on the entire period of time. So here's an example. You know, have you walked the dog? Yeah, I've just done it. That result is happening now. The result is that the dog is walked. Let me see. How often have you seen the neighbors when you're walking the dog? How often have you seen the neighbors? That is asking about a period of time in the past. Just to give you a quick example of the difference. Okay, so in number 1, the dog is walked. That action results in the present. I've just done it. The result is that it's done now. I did it in the past, but the result is that what you wanted to do has already been completed right now in the moment of speaking. Is that more clear, that example?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think for A then? Is it 1 or is it 3?
I say 1.
You say 1. You say
yeah.
1, but there's no result. There's no result. What about the time expression up to now? Up to now. Does that talk about a single event or does that talk about a period, in your opinion?
A period.
Exactly. So it's got to be 3. It's got to be 3. Something that has happened during an unfinished period of time. Did they already launch the product? No, they didn't. So it's not finished yet. So it's an unfinished period of time. Clear?
Okay.
Not clear?
Yes, yeah.
Don't forget, in French, it means something different.
I think the launch date has been fixed, so it result. So I think first.
It's not.
Not?
Nope, it's not. The launch date has been set, right? But it's up to now.
From the
no,
past.
but it's not a result.
Yeah.
But it's not a result because it could change. Because the period of time isn't finished yet because of up to now. If it didn't say up to now, we'd have a different story. Okay? And let's double check, you know. Let's see if we can make it a little more clear. If we go back to our text, look at Michelle's line on the right side. Sarah asks, Michelle, why don't you start? How are things with the marketing department? Well, up to now, and then she gives a list of things that have been completed. up to now, the launch date has been set for the 15th. This means we must meet our deadlines. We've set a realistic schedule and planned in a bit of extra time. So she's giving a grocery list of things that she's done up to now. Therefore, she's describing what happened in the unfinished period of time. Okay? Don't worry if it's not clear, because this is the hardest verb tense in the English language. It's not easy. So it may not be clear in the beginning. But let's go back and see another example, and then we can judge the two of them together. Okay, so let's go down the list. I have Jason, then I have Martin, and Raphael, and Yuki. Okay, so Martin, read B for us and tell us which category best fits.
We have hit a problem with the handset battery life.
Right.
Just a moment. Probably is number one.
Probably is number one is correct.
Because when we use I have something, I've done something, we don't know exactly the time in the past.
So your answer is right, but your explanation is not right.
When we use the past participle, for example, we don't know exactly how, at what time in the past.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I understand you now. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, I agree.
And when we use the simple past, we know exactly the time in the past when the action happens.
Yes. That's right. We don't say a time in this sentence. We don't say we hit a problem yesterday. If we said yesterday, it'd have to be the simple past, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. Yes, that's right.
Probably we have to write down yesterday I did something.
That's right. That's right. We have to write it down. If it's not written, or if it's not 100% clear, right? Then yeah, we got to specify.
Use the participle.
Okay, that's exactly right. Raphael, can you read C for us?
Yes. Thank God, because I think it's the easiest one. He booked the venue 2 weeks ago. It's number 2.
That's right. And because where's the time expression, Raphael?
2 weeks ago.
How do we know it's a simple past? 2 weeks ago.
Because 2 weeks ago and the verb, it's in the simple past.
Exactly. So Raphael, as Martin was saying, if you took out 2 weeks ago, you'd have to change it to he has booked the venue. If you took it out, you have to change it to the present perfect. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, very good. Yuki, what about D?
D, I've already received offers from various catering companies. I think it is 3. Something has happened during the unfinished period of time.
But what's the result now in the present? Is the result, because if you look at it in a context, we can go back to the text if you like. But if you look at it in the context, the idea is we now have a list of catering companies and we're going to choose. So the result is that we now have a list. So for that reason, it's actually number 1, because we don't know when the action happened, but the result is we're really more focused on the present in this case. And let me just see if we can find a quick example from the text where he says that. Catering companies, hold on. Here we go. Michelle's line on the right side says, our events manager says we're on track. Why are we on track? Because he booked the venue 2 weeks ago, that's the past, and I've already received offers from catering companies. So the focus really is on the present in this particular case. Is that clear?
Not very, but I'm thinking about it. Okay.
It's because of the context. I think that's the only way you're going to know. There's nothing in the sentence to tell you whether it's 1 or 3. But in the context of the dialogue, that's where you'll see that it's focused on the present. So it's not that easy.
Okay.
In any case, you know it's not the simple past, because we're not talking about when it happened. We're talking about the result or the period of time, not in a specific moment. So that's the more important thing, that you don't confuse the simple past with the present perfect. Okay, let me jump back here to, we're back to Jason for E, please.
I haven't made a final choice yet.
Oops, I'm on the wrong page, sorry.
Yeah.
There you go, sorry. 1, 2, or 3? Notice the word yet.
Yes.
That's what gives it away, the word yet.
So if the word yet is there, we can say the situation has not finished yet.
Exactly. It's not finished. So
It's true.
it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. Because it really shows that it's unfinished, so it's got to be 3. Okay, Martin, the last one, F.
I sent you a postponed agenda yesterday.
That's easy, right?
Yeah, it must be number 2.
It must be.
Past action.
Because of yesterday. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay, so Raphael, which word in D and which word in E mean something that has taken place earlier than expected, or something we expect that something will take place? So you've got to look at those key words. These are probably going to be adverbs. Okay? And actually, we did one of these already, so I've already given you one of the answers. But tell me what you think. Look at E and D. See if you can categorize the adverbs.
Yes, it's already and yet.
It is already and yet. Now the question is, which is which?
Maybe I don't know how to explain that using the words that you just used.
You don't need to explain. You don't need to explain. Just match it.
Because already means that something that happened before you expected, and yet something that it's not done yet.
If it's not done, it will take place in the future, probably, right?
Yes.
We want it to be done. So yet it's got to be 5, and already, as you said, it's number 4 because it is already taken place. So the key is for number 5, it isn't done yet, but we expect it will be done in the context. We think it will be done. So yet has to match with number 5. So your logic is correct, but that's how I would explain it. All right, so anyway, and in Portuguese, these are different words anyway, so it's not so difficult. Because what already is já, and yet is ainda, right?
Yes.
Is that right? And what about in French and Italian? I'm not going to even ask about Japanese. I don't want to know. It's too confusing. But what about in French and Italian?
So about what?
About already? How do you say already?
Déjà.
Déjà. Ah, déjà vu. Got it.
In Italian, is già.
Già. What about yet?
Encore.
Encore. And in Italian?
Ancora.
Ancora. Okay. Okay, very good. I'm sorry, Yuki. If you tell me anything else in any of the languages, I'll be confused. I don't want to know. Okay, so that's enough analysis. Okay, now you've got the general idea. Now we need to figure out what kind of adverbs you can use in these situations. Which of the time expressions used when given an update can we normally use with the past, with the present perfect or with either. But when you use it with either, there are certain circumstances. So we've got to kind of identify those with examples, okay? So maybe we ought to just go around the room one more time and see if you can think of, you just go through the list and tell me where you think they fit. And if it could go with either, try to think of an example, okay? So we left off with Raphael, so that means Yuki, you're next. Up to now, what do you think that fits with better, up to now?
Up to now, I think it would be with the present perfect.
Absolutely. We saw it with the present perfect. Okay?
Yes.
That's all we really need to say about that, actually. Okay, that's fine. Because we can't use it in either case, can we? It's not possible to use it with the simple past, so we don't need to say anything else about it. Okay? And Jason, what do you think about so far?
So far.
Simple past or present perfect?
So far, past perfect.
Past perfect is not an option, Jason.
What? And there was...
Do you mean present perfect?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Because past perfect would be I had done. This is I have done. So present perfect. If you mean the present perfect, I agree with you. It can only be used in the present perfect because it's for an unfinished action. Martin, what about since our last meeting?
In my opinion, it could be number 2 with the present perfect.
I agree. Since our last meeting, we have done X, Y, and Z. It's about an unfinished period of time. Okay? And Raphael, in the last month.
I confess that I'm not sure, but past simple?
You're absolutely right. And you can remember that in a simple way. In, at, on are almost always, 99% of the time, the past simple. In, at, on. In 1993, on Monday, at 5 o'clock. These are all specific periods of time. Okay, so that's a little shortcut to help you remember. And Yuki, today, what would that be?
Today would be used with the past simple.
Okay, such as, can you think of an example? A simple example.
Today I ate a breakfast. I had a breakfast.
Well, that's not the past simple. You mean I had breakfast?
I hadn't a breakfast. Maybe.
Oh, I haven't had breakfast.
Ah.
Oh, I see. I haven't had breakfast. So if you use that example, it would be the present perfect. Today I haven't had breakfast yet. But guess what?
Either is possible.
Either is possible. Yep, either is possible. I didn't eat today is possible, and I haven't had breakfast yet is also possible.
Yes.
So the key idea is to try to think of examples of both if you can. And Jason, what about last week?
Last week.
Yeah.
It's a past simple.
It's only the past simple, absolutely. Only the past simple. And Martin, a couple of weeks ago?
The past simple.
Past simple because of a go. A go is your key word for the past simple. Okay? And Raphael, this morning?
This morning, past simple.
Can you think of an example?
I did a lot of tasks this morning.
Okay, I did a lot of tasks this morning. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right, because in that case, this morning is a specific point in time. I did a lot of tasks this morning. But guess what, Raphael? It's 11:47 a.m. in Portugal right now. That's where I am. It's 11:47. It's still the morning, and therefore I could use the present perfect as well, couldn't I?
Yes, because it's not finished.
It's not finished. So I could say this morning I've done a lot of tasks because it's still the morning. In 7 minutes from now, it won't be the morning anymore, and I'll have to use the past simple. So it depends on the time, okay? Just to point that out, it could be either. Yesterday, obviously, the past simple. That's easy. Yuki, let's look at one more that's a little difficult. To date. That's an interesting time expression. What do you think about that one, Yuki? To date. Do you know that expression? Yuki, you there?
Can you hear you? Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry. To date means until now. So it so the word to date go with present perfect.
Absolutely. To date is the same as up until now, basically. Okay? Just and over the last few months. Okay, over the last few months, I think you can clearly see that that is a period of time. Right? We've had great success. We've had present perfect. But what about just? That one's a little more tricky. Jason, what do you think about just?
Just I think it's past perfect.
There's no past perfect. That's not a choice.
Sorry, past simple.
Past simple. Okay. Perhaps. Can you give an example?
I just got to finish my work.
Well, in that case, you wouldn't say that. You would say, I've just finished. Because it's the recent past. So you'd say, I've just finished.
I just.
Not I just, but I've just.
Yes. So it's, yes, I've just finished my work. So it's present perfect.
In that case, it's present perfect. Okay, but that maybe there are other cases you could use. Maybe there are, I don't know. But if you want to use it talking about a completed action, I can't think of any example in the simple past where we could use just. I can't think of any. So for now, we'll say present perfect. Okay. I want you to think about a project. I want you to think about a project that you've recently completed. Okay? And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to, maybe using the chat window, I'd like you to give us 2 or 3 details about the project. They could just be single words if you like. And what we're going to do is ask you questions and have you update us. Okay? So Martin, I think you're the next on the list. Using the chat window, I'd like you to write 2 or 3 keywords that give us a sense of things that you've done, 2 or 3 keywords, and then we're going to try to create questions from them, and you'll give us a short update on a project. Is that clear?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So think of a project you've done. It could be personal, it could be professional, doesn't really matter. And see if you can, if you need, I'll give you an example, okay? But let's see. Can you think of 2 or 3 things that you've accomplished as part of this project?
Maybe can you give me an example, please?
Okay, sure. Let me give you an example. We'll do one example with. Sure. I'll give you an example using a project that I've recently done. Let me see. What have I recently done? Oh, I know. Okay, I got a project. So my project was applying to schools in Italy. That was my project. You can see it in the group chat. Can everyone see that in the group chat?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, everyone can see what I wrote? Jason, Raphael, Yuki? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so let me give you 2 details. Okay, good. Let me give you two details. Detail number one, let me see. Went to consulate. Detail 2, asked for references from Verbling. I shouldn't say references, I should say reference. Asked for a reference from Verbling. Okay, so those are two things that I had to do to complete that project. And the project was applying to schools in Italy as a teacher, that is. Okay, so maybe we can, I don't care if we do this individually or as a group, but what I want you to do is ask me a question based on 1 and 2 and listen to how I respond using those time expressions above, okay? So, feel free to ask a question, anyone.
Yes, I have a question.
Go for it.
What have you done so far to get your visa?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, up to now, it's been very unclear because it seems that Italy has more stringent laws than Portugal. It's been unclear. That's my verb tense. I'm just describing it. But I've been calling the consulate for several days. And finally, yesterday, I was able to speak to the consul who told me that residents of Portugal don't need a work visa in Italy. So it looks like I don't need to do anything else. But thanks for asking. So there I used the present perfect to answer. First I said, up to now, it's been difficult. I'm just describing and use the present simple. I've been calling, present perfect continuous. I've been calling for several days. So that's talking about a period of time. I spoke with the consul yesterday, and she said I don't need a visa. So there I would say simple past, and the key word is yesterday. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. Maybe someone else could ask about the second question. Martin, we'll get to you in just a second. Maybe Raphael, Yuki, Martin, can one of you ask a question based on point number 2 in my little thing there in the window?
What have you been reading to improve your English?
That's not based on point number 2. Raphael, look at point number 2. See it? Do you see where my face is in the group chat? And it says point 1 went to consulate, and point 2 asked for reference.
Okay, I'm sorry because you're not the only one sharing a project because I was reading.
Oh, yes.
I was not sure.
Okay, no problem. But I want to hear you.
Confusing.
No problem. I want to hear you form a question from point number 2. Want to try?
Yes.
You have to decide whether you use the simple past or the present perfect to ask your question.
Did you get a reference from Verbling?
Okay, good. I could say yes or no to that, right? I could say that. But Raphael, that's okay. You can ask that question. But if you want to know about a period of time, if you want to know about the result now, you'd have to ask it as the present perfect. So ask it again, but this time as a present perfect. Give it a try, Raphael.
Have you got any reference from Verbling?
Okay, good. Very good. Have you got a reference from Verbling? And I would say, oh, that's a good question, Raphael. Well, I haven't got one yet, but they said that they would write one for me. So I'm going to use that to apply to schools. Thanks a lot. Okay, so you could actually ask in either way, but if you ask us the present perfect, we're really talking about the result now. The result now is, no, I haven't got one, but I should get one soon. Very good. Okay, let's use Martin's example before we run out of time, okay? So Martin, you said that your current project was to improve your English. Point 1, have been reading a long text. Okay, good. Just one point, or do you have another point, Martin? Just one thing you've done? Martin, are you there? Hello, Martin? Hello? Uh-oh, maybe Martin's having connection problems. Martin, if you can hear me, just say okay in the chat window so I know you can hear. Okay, maybe Martin can't hear. Yuki, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. So Yuki, do you have a project that you can share with us? Maybe we could see if we can ask you a few questions about it. What's a project you've been working on?
I'm working for the project for improving the condition of teaching languages to students.
Working for or working on the project?
Working on. Yes,
working
I'm now working on the project for improving the teaching conditions.
Okay, very good. So Jason and Raphael, we're going to each try to ask him one question to find out how the project has been going. Okay? The questions are almost as important as the answers, because you really have to decide whether you're using the present perfect or past simple. Let me give you an example. Yuki, have you consulted anyone about your project to get some outside ideas?
I have consulted with the senior teachers I worked with. I work with whom I worked with.
Okay, very good. So Raphael, his project is to update and I think that would be a good way to summarize it. Okay, Raphael, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I asked him, have you consulted with anyone? Raphael, do you think you could create another question to get an update on how his project is going? Use your imagination here.
Have you asked for help from other teachers?
Very good. Have you asked for any help, Yuki?
I have asked to help from other teacher
I've asked for help. Don't forget, for help.
I have asked for help from other teachers regarding the new teaching method.
Okay, very good.
Regarding regarding creating the project.
Okay, very good. It sounds good. And Jason, one final question. Maybe this time, just to vary it a little bit, we could try a simple past question. What do you think, Jason?
What did you do?
Yes, that's a simple past. What did you do?
Well, what did you do what did you do to improve what did you do to make your project?
To make
realistic.
Ah, okay, okay, good. Listen, Jason, don't forget, I should have said this to you, Raphael, as well, but I forgot, sorry. Don't forget, we've got to use those time expressions in the box, okay? So, Jason, you're asking what he did to make the project more realistic, better suited to the students, right? To make it more realistic. That's good.
First of all, we made a plan.
Well, well, so before you answer, Yuki,
okay.
Let me make sure that the question is in the right form. Jason, you've got to use one of those time expressions to complete your question.
Yeah. I just missed the word last month.
Oh, okay. So want to ask one more time?
What did you do to make realistic your project?
To make your project realistic?
To make your project realistic last month.
Okay, good. We don't know how long his project has lasted, but let's assume it's been there since last month. Okay. What would you say, Yuki?
Last month, we made we drew up a plan to discuss with last month this month we have been brainstorming with it.
Okay, good. So last month you drew up a plan, right? And this month you've used that plan. You've been following the plan. You've been brainstorming some of the details that you had outlined. That's the idea? Does that make sense? Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, very good, very good. Oh, it sounds good. I completely forgot about the key words until you were speaking, Jason, so actually that might have been a bit confusing. Well, look, we're going to have to stop. We're a bit over time. There are some other things we could do here. Let me just take a quick look if I missed anything major. The rest of it is really just practicing the two. I think the plan is going to be, I'll take a look at this and see if this practice is really worthwhile or not. Because we have a final project at the end, and I don't know if we're quite ready for the final project. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. In any case, I have practice for you to do after class if you want to try. So I'm going to be sending you a homework. As long as we've covered everything, I think we have, I can send you the homework, which will have a little overview of the difference between the present perfect and past simple. It'll remind you of some of the key expressions, and you'll have to do a few exercises to try to keep it fresh in your memory. So I can create that and send it to you a little bit later today. Okay? Tomorrow, in the first hour, we had some new students in the Great Short Stories class. And so we actually didn't discuss our short story from the shadow industry. We didn't discuss it because we had to reread it. So we're actually going to be discussing it tomorrow. We're not going to be reading it. We're just going to be discussing it.
I'm sorry, I missed yesterday's class. Has the story continue?
No,
now?
it's the same. It's the same story.
Shadow.
It's the same story, but we didn't actually do the discussion.
Okay.
So if you want to join us tomorrow, we're going to be discussing.
I'll read it until end. Okay.
Yeah, well, there's only a paragraph left. There's only a sentence left. It's very short. Okay. So I may bring in something else for us to read by the same author as well, because it's so short. Okay.
It's very mysterious and interesting story.
It's a very shadowy story.
Shadow story.
Very shadowy.
Yes, very shadow story.
Okay. And of course, we're going to complete the unit tomorrow on being on schedule as well at the same hour. Okay? Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.